It's the guns, stupid. It's the guns. It is. It's the guns. And I'll tell you what, I want to bring up the movie Hell or High Water. This is a great movie, and I saw that this weekend, and I kept saying to myself, and I mean, it's not like it didn't get a lot of great recognition. Chris Pine, who many people might recognize as the newest version of Captain Kirk, Chris Pine and Ben Foster play brothers in West Texas, and they're robbing banks. And I'm not going to get into what their motivations are for robbing the banks. Jeff Bridges, who was nominated for an Oscar, although I think Pine definitely deserved to get a nomination. I think that he was robbed there. I don't think he did get one. But Jeff Bridges got nominated as a U.S. Marshal, or excuse me, a Texas, not U.S. Marshal, Texas Ranger that was hunting down the two brothers and the robbers. There are two things about this movie which, as I watch this, and of course then we have the shooting in Midland, Odessa, which is, kind of in this exact same area. The first thing is this, and if you are a liberal and you really are sitting here and you say, okay, outside of the racists and the billionaires, how did these people vote for Trump? Go watch Hell or High Water. Hell or High Water does a very good job at exposing the elements of our country which have basically been forgotten. And as there's one speech that is said in there where the guy says, my parents were poor, my grandparents were poor, I was poor. It's a disease that gets handed down from generation to generation in this country. And he's exactly right. There are swaths of this country where there hasn't been, we live in Minneapolis, St. Paul. There's tons of growth. There's tons of big businesses. There's tons of good jobs and stuff around. But you get out into rural America, and there isn't anything. And the way that the film is shot, where it features in the background of all the scenes, there's these pictures of billboards for you need a loan, or, no cash down, or, sell your house for cash and stuff like this. There's one scene early on the film where I served, there was someone spray painted some graffiti. I served 3 terms in Iraq. Where's my bailout? And, you do understand that when you're in a community and you have 200 miles surrounding you of no growth and no real investment and no real corporations heading in with new factories or corporate headquarters to give people jobs and no real hope for the people that are there, you realize how out of desperation they might have turned to the flashiness of Trump. I think you do get an understanding of that. So and it's by no means a pro-Republican movie. By no means is it a pro-Republican movie. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably, maybe since It's a Wonderful Life, there hasn't been a movie that has been this brutal on the banking industry ever. I mean, it is brutal. And, who the good guy is, who the bad guy is, I mean, that's a blurred line, that entire movie. But one of the other things about that movie, which is just spot on, is the first thing I thought of when I saw the shooting rampage that started on one side of town and moved across in Midland, Odessa, Texas, and 7 people were killed, is I kept saying to myself, this just proves this entire argument that the good guy with the gun is just a laughable joke. You're in Texas. In the movie Hell or High Water, there are numerous scenes with guns because that is just something that these people run around with out there. They love their guns. And there is not only is there a scene where a guy pulls a gun in a gas station parking lot, which ends pretty poorly for him. But as well, there's a scene where a bank is being robbed, and one of the people that's being robbed texts their friend saying the bank's being robbed right now. And what happens? A bunch of these clowns show up with guns and start firing rounds at bank robbers because they're like, it's time for us to get our Bonnie and Clyde. It's time for us to get people. They miss them. And I think it's the most realistic thing you could possibly see. A bunch of over-testosteroned, false bravadoed, gun-toting kooks who think to themselves, this gives me respect. It doesn't give you squat. You want a gun? Go join the Army. Seriously, you want to go play around? Go join the Army. But this scene just shows you that it is such a broken culture because the people who really want these guns don't want them for security. They want them for forced respect. They think to themselves that I will get respect now. I will be looked up because I'll be the make-believe lawman in town. And so all these guys come frantically scattering out of the woodwork to try to tank down the bank robbers because their lives are so empty. They're looking for any validation for their own being. And so that gun becomes the conduit. If that is not an actual, absolutely spot on representation of the guns in America today, I don't know what it is. But that's what it is. These guns aren't here for safety. They're for losers who basically feel the need that one way or another, you're going to respect me. No, I'm not. I'm not. You need to go look in the mirror and ask how in the hell you got yourself into this position and what the hell you're going to do to get out of it. But don't go out there and expect me or anyone I know to all of a sudden get respect for you because you got a gun. And this is the fact that we have yet another mass shooting in this country, and the Republicans are stubbornly... It's video games! How hard do you have to throw a video game to create a bullet hole, huh? Because it's not the video games. It's the guns. And the fact that we have a lot of angry people that you keep throwing rocks at the freaking beehive, and then when these guys going out there because you have a buffet of guns and ammunition everywhere, you act surprised when they start shooting. I didn't realize the bees were going to sting us, didn't you? Well, we can't stop you idiots from riling up these losers, but what we can do is make it more difficult for you guys to get a freaking AR-15 so that you can go on a war path and kill all these people. Guns don't make you safer. And if I see people running around with a gun, the first thing I see is you're a pathetic loser. And obviously if you're law enforcement, that's one thing. But if it's just some regular person on the street, it's one of these knuckleheads that's got an automatic weapon on their back as they're going through a freaking Target store, you're just a pathetic loser who is so determined to get people to try to respect you that you will try to get the respect any way possible. And if that means threatening them by having a gun in their face, you will do it. And you're a loser. Seriously, go get some breath mints and try to go on a date. That's all I can say to you losers. Seriously. Comb your hair. Get rid of the pizza-stained shirt and try to clean yourself up a little bit so you're mildly presentable and ask someone out on a date.
They really have a lot of hair on top of the head, though. They may
not, or just shave it and make yourself go with the lower the short tolerance look. I don't care. But seriously, stop taking out your life's frustrations on everyone else. It's just horrible. And once again, It's not only the shooter now. It's supposedly all these good guys with the gun. This is what the NRA said. And it's in Texas, and it's in West Texas, and you still couldn't stop this guy. Guns are pathetic. That's all they are. Guns are pathetic.